Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, as we finally made it to Friday, folks, we're heading right into the weekend, so I know we're going to have a little free-for-all here today. We're going to talk, of course, Razorback basketball, Razorback football, latest in the coaching search. Look at some of the games going on this weekend. Look at some SARACEN bets and things that we'll look forward to, as well as some of the chats that you guys want to get into. But Curtis Wilkerson is out today, as he is having some new fast internet set up that's really going to just make him be lightning quick when it comes to all of his great podcast and being there on Inside Arkansas Live. So, Andrew, we've made it to Friday. It's a bye week, but how are the vibes here heading into the weekend?
The vibes are great, John. I am as hog wild as one could be on today's edition of Inside Arkansas Live. I'm missing Curtis, as we all are, as we all do anytime we don't see Curtis. Puts a lot of pressure on my internet, so we'll see how it holds up. But I'm excited for today's show, and I'm excited for the weekend. I'm excited. I hate to do this. I'm excited, John, for my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
I just want to get that out there. I'm turning 28 years old. So if you don't have to reach out to me, but if you don't, then I hate you.
Well, I was going to ask what your age was, but then I said, I don't think that's appropriate, but you said it anyways. So the ripe old age of 28, man, I don't remember. I guess it was about 10 years ago when I was 28, and I don't remember what I did for it. But do you have any significant plans that you would like to share for said birthday?
Thinking about going bowling. That's about it. But really, I'm going to be watching Arkansas whip Michigan State's arse and doing the Pod at the Palace postgame show. So really, that's what I'll be doing on my birthday. Yeah,
I mean, that's all you could ask for here on your birthday. Is the greatest birthday gift of all time is recapping an Arkansas victory over Michigan State. So, but yeah, man, it's going to be great. And I know that with the time of year too, it's like I was thinking, since it's a bye week for Arkansas, this is the second bye week for Arkansas this year, and the first bye week was fascinating because, you just fired Sam Pittman and you're going into it with Petrino as an interim. There's a lot of mystery and a lot of chaos and everything. But then when you get to this bye week, it's kind of like, all right, well, is there any other games on that we want to watch? And then we start going through a little bit of the college football weekends. Like, it's not a whole lot going on there. I know Razorback basketball is, of course, going to have the majority of our attention and everything, but kind of a boring bye week, which can be in most cases, but just not a whole lot going on there, at least with Razorback football as they prepare for going on the road against LSU next week. But right now, not much of anything.
Yeah, not all bye weeks are created equal. Obviously, the last time we saw a bye week, Arkansas decided to fire everyone inside the building. And so, that kind of had its own set of circumstances. I remember last year when they beat Tennessee right into the bye week, and so that bye week was like a 2-week-long celebration of, oh, man, this season has new life. What are we going to do? Obviously, if you lose going into the bye week the way that Arkansas did, it kind of makes it a little bit duller, and it kind of gives fans, in my opinion, it gives fans a perfect opportunity to check out. Like if you are one of those sports fans who kind of is a season by season, which I feel like most are, I feel like this bye week was set up at a perfect time. Right after Arkansas' 7th loss, you just found out for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, Arkansas will not be playing in a bowl game. And so it's like, I feel like if there's a time to check out, it would be now. Really what we've seen now, of course, with a coaching search is everyone's just turned their attention to that. And so I'm sure it's just a coincidence that the bye week for Arkansas, when there's nothing else going on, that's why there's been scoops left and right all week. I'm sure that's just a total coincidence and not something that we all made up out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's like we are start coming around and being like, oh man, we gotta figure out something here. What can we talk about? How can we make money on this thing? It's just too good.
We gotta make money.
Got to make money on this. But that is funny. The coincidence of it all, to where, listen, there's been each week, even the game weeks that Arkansas's had, there's been some, a little bit of talk. Nothing crazy, nothing set in stone. There's like, oh, well, it's more of, hey, what about this guy or what about this thing? And this week, it's weird because, as we talked about kind of in our members only stream last night, which was a lot of fun, and we appreciate everybody joining us for that. It's like it felt like there's been stuff that's happened, but then there's been nothing that's happened. And that's what makes it kind of a weird thing right now, is because I know everybody's wanting to and looking at, hey, what's the latest? Let's hear it. And there may be a little bit of a couple things here and there. But there's still just nothing. Like there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing concrete when it comes to this coaching search. And it's just going to be funny to me because this is how it always goes. And I'm not like insulting anybody if they're really up on one player or one coach, or anything. But I can't wait for about 3-4 weeks from now, whenever Arkansas officially hires their coach. We're going to look back at like this time and laugh because it's probably going to be something that's completely not what anyone thought. Everyone was up in arms about one thing that ended up not being the case, or a coach gets hired that nobody even talked about. Like it's just going to be one of those deals similar to what basketball was with before they hired Cal. When I remember the days we always reference it, like when Tang was in the mix and everything, we're just kind of looking back and being like, oh gosh, man, like, can you remember when we were afraid of that? I'm feeling like there could be a case where, not saying you'll get a Cal, just saying that all the stuff you think now, you may not even recognize here in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think back to the Bobby Petrino hiring, and I was a little bit younger then, so correct me if I'm wrong on this. I know he was kind of a name that was floated, but like right around the time you started hearing Bobby Petrino's name floated, he was the head coach at Arkansas like 24 hours later. Like it happened pretty quick. Like by the time we found out that Bobby Petrino was a real candidate, he was hired very, very soon after. Same with Cal. We didn't hear about Cal at all until the day before he was hired. Like literally, we didn't hear anything, no buzz, no murmurs. Like he had this whole meeting with Hunter Yurchek where they talked about all these things, and nobody knew about it until a week later when it came out. And it was like, oh yeah, Cal's going to take the job, and here's why. I'm not saying that's how it's going to be this time, that they're going to hire someone that no one's heard of, and we're going to be
Man, he jinxed himself on the internet. But no, he's right, though. He's like, we're not going to know exactly what's going to transpire with this team and with the program or anything that's going to be going on. But what we do know is that they are going to hire a head coach. Like they're going to have a head coach. There always going to be somebody that they end up bringing in. And you brought up the Cal hire, which is fascinating because you try to look at other coaching searches, at least major coaching searches, and compare them and be like, okay, I know basketball is different from football. Like I get all that. But you're right. We didn't know anything about Cal. Cal, it was literally like I had even heard, and I think we talked about this, but like I've heard stuff maybe the day before the Cal thing got reported, and it was like I didn't even take it seriously because it was so stupid. It was like something like, there's just zero chance I'm not even going to entertain that. Like if we did a making the case back then for basketball coaches, I doubt we would have ever brought up John Calipari. Like it just wouldn't have been one. But it happened. And I'm just really hoping that Razorback fans in general do not try to say, well, that's how it went that time. That's how it's going to be this time. As in like, oh, we didn't know anything. And then suddenly it happened and it was a rock star. And then that's probably what will happen in this case too. You can't put it into the same box and just assume that this coaching search is going to be anything similar to what it was with basketball this past, I guess, last year.
I mean, I think the big thing is you cannot go into this thing expecting to know how it's going to play out. That's another thing is like, and whether that means you think it's going to be some off the wall guy that comes out of nowhere, or you think it's going to be someone that we kind of known the whole time. I think what's interesting about this, and you've obviously can attest to this, it's really hard to find information these days. You ask 7 different people what they think is about to happen, what they're hearing is about to happen, and you might get 7 completely different answers. That's not a coincidence. It is very possible. You know what I mean? Like, because there's been a lot of people who have been doing heavy reporting on this James Franklin thing and giving out specific numbers, giving details on when these meetings are happening, when all this is happening. If that does happen where Arkansas hires James Franklin and we learn every detail as it happens, it will be the first time in the history of coaching searches that happens. That has just never been a thing that's ever, people that are doing these, like whoever it is that's in charge of hiring, they're not leaking out information constantly. That's something that they're trying to fight against, not leaking out stuff. You don't want people to know what you're doing. You don't want these agents like Jimmy Sexton to have as much leverage and have as much info as possible. You want to be doing all these things in the dark. And so as much as I know we're starved for content as Razorback fans, I think if you're a real Razorback fan, you probably shouldn't even want all this to happen out in the open because it probably wouldn't work well for your university.
No, not at all. And that's why it's like I'm always very careful about anything that gets said, and I just crack up, and I'm again not calling out anyone specifically because there could be some stuff that's really good information, but we just don't know. But it's like when people are like, well, I was hanging out with a board of trustee member the other day, and they told me this, and it's like, I'm not saying that you weren't, and I'm not saying that they didn't, but I'm also like, I can always speak for myself. If I ever get any info from this, it's not one of those things to where like, me and my guy Charlie over here, he's a board member. We were over there just having some beers over at the local Goat Lab Red, and then he's just sitting there being like, hey, you want to hear the latest in the coaching search? And I'm like, oh, gee, I thought you never asked. Like, that's not how that stuff works. It's very casual. It's kind of like, I may get a text message from somebody that'll just be like, what would you think if this happened, kind of thing, like almost like gauging it. And that's usually like my feeling of like, well, that might be an option. But yeah, it's just, again, I don't go after people for saying like, hey, I've been doing this or I've heard this from because I was hanging out with this, because they may have. Like, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm just for people who are looking for that information, as you say, Andrew, it's like, just be cautious of everything. You could take things and say, okay, well, that would make sense. But you can also look at it as like, but is it true? Take everything with a grain of salt. Don't get too heavily invested. Don't say, oh yeah, this is for sure is what's happening, because even the highest of highs up there with their sources and with it's plugged in, even they can be wrong on it. So it's just like, you got to be able to put everything in the right perspective, and that's why you should never get like so excited or intense about something you've heard and you're like, this is how it has to be. It's because it's just not that way.
Yeah, we definitely can't speak in black and white terms as if this is going to be a definitive thing. There's no nuance in between. And like you said, there's a lot of times where people might put out feelers. People might try and see what the reaction might be. These things evolve all the time. I mean, we saw all the time, Tennessee hires Greg Schiano. They see the pushback. They all of a sudden backtrack. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it's like these things happen all the time. These guys change their mind. 1 week ago, John, if you had reached out to all the last 7 people you spoke to, if you had reached out to them 1 week ago, they probably would have told you something very different. And I know that doesn't like bring you any comfort as a fan of like trying to figure out what's going to happen, but it's like this thing is being decided in real time. And I have a rule. If someone is trying to tell you they know without a shadow of a doubt what is going to happen, they're lying to you.
It's getting to the nitty gritty here. So gonna have to share some of that internet with Curtis. But I tell you what, that's a perfect time, because we'll get into the discussion and keep it going here. But I want to remind everybody that we are presented by our friend and our real estate expert of Inside Arkansas. It's Gracie Frizzell of Collier and Associates. She's the best in the business. She's actually helping me currently find a new place to live, because I'm having to move here in the next month or so, which is so fun during the busiest time of year. But luckily for me, I got Gracie to help me out, as she makes it so easy and so convenient. And she's the best in the business when it comes to dealing with all things real estate, whether it's in Arkansas or Oklahoma. She's licensed in both. She's here to help you with your real estate needs. It's investment property, or if you're looking for a game day getaway, land investment, new home, whatever it is, Gracie is going to be your trusted guide from start to finish. So give her a call or text today at 501-690-3868. That's 501-690-3868 for questions on all things real estate. Or you can check her out on Instagram at Gracie Frizz. It's Gracie Frizzell of Collier and Associates, the official real estate expert of Inside Arkansas, which, by the way, Andrew, I'm not going to ask you or Curtis to help me move. So you can go ahead and you're good there. I know you're the go-to media guy mover, apparently. Like anytime a media guy needs some moving, you're the go-to. But don't worry, you won't have to worry about it this time.
What you do? Do you have? Are you going to hire a moving company?
No, I just have so little of stuff that it won't matter. Like the biggest thing I have is a recliner, and so I was just like, all right, I can put that in the bed of my truck. So I'm just trying to avoid like renting a truck, getting a bunch of, because nobody wants to help anyone move ever. There's no one that's just like, you know what? I actually enjoy helping people move. There's not one single person that does that. So I was like, I don't want to be asked that. So I'm not going to ask that from anybody. So just, little by little, they'll make it work.
There's no shame in paying a few bucks and getting the guys to bring the big truck and move it for you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, listen, no, there is nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of one of those deals where I'm in that spot where I have so little of stuff. They'd probably show up and be like, you're paying people to help you move this stuff. Like, come on, dude. Are you that bit of a poon? You can't even do it yourself. It's like, yeah, that would be the problem in it. But either way, it's going to be happening though. Again, it's a Freedom Friday. So we're going to have a lot of your chats and get into some basketball. We'll have some fun videos I actually want to play too. One of them that you sent, Andrew, I believe you sent it to our group text last night, that was dealing with an SEC quarterback. Really funny stuff. Dealing with that. We'll have to get a reaction to that, man. But shout out to Hickory Hog, though. Appreciate it. Super chats always get read first. He says, John, I just wanted to congratulate you on hiring the best basketball guy in the country. Pot of the House is electric. You're just now figuring this out, Hickory Hog. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that was obvious. But yes, Curtis is the best guy in the country, and that is why we always love Pod at the Palace, and that's why we love basketball season, and that's why we enjoy having Curtis around, because not only is he a good man, but he is the best when it comes to all ball knowing knowledge.
I know it's easy to kind of take it for granted, or maybe we don't talk about it all the time, so it may seem like it. Trust us, like that was never lost on us. Like there was never a point going into this operation where like we didn't have a very firm understanding of what Curtis brings to the table and like what he represents.
Yeah. Well, that was like, I know we've talked about it. I was like, that was my whole thing of why originally I wanted Curtis and of course Scotty at the time. And also Andrew. It's like, well, I know Curtis is the best at basketball and Andrew's the best at baseball. And those are the two things that are very popular here in the state of Arkansas. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, we appreciate that and appreciate Curtis, and hopefully he's got some good positive news whenever his internet comes on, because apparently it's been a process taking hours.
Here he is blushing.
Oh shucks, fellas, are we sure that's him, or is that one of those AI things? You never know. Like
crystal clear through his new internet, and he can hear us great. Like
Wordus Kilkerson, like one of those weird behind the things, because there's been a lot of dupage on Twitter these days, boys. So you guys got to keep your head on a swivel. Oh, look at this. Super chat from Michael Badley. Says, my birthday is tomorrow, Andrew. Happy birthday. Buy some beer. Also, I hope it's Will Stein.
I like that. Well, I appreciate that. Happy birthday to us, I guess. More like Michael Goodley, if you ask me.
That's right. What we did are making the case for Will Stein. Did you come to a consensus on it? Or like, as I'm trying to remember how I felt, if not saying there's any connections whatsoever for Will Stein right now, but if it was to happen.
So if it were to happen, it would take me about 12 seconds to talk myself in and be super excited about it. Young, up and coming. I do think that, like, if you just look at his resume and look at everywhere he's been, he has a little bit of the Midas touch. Like every quarter. And by the way, did anybody watch the NFL game last night? If you're skeptical on hiring Will Stein, watch Bo Nix play football in the NFL and then come back to me. Because Will Stein, Bo Nix should be sending him monthly checks for sure, man. Like that dude's he had Bo Nix looking like, there was a point I remember, like, because he sucked at Auburn and then he went to Oregon, and I think all of us collectively, we were all surprised. We were like, wow, Bo Nix has turned out to be a really good quarterback. Turns out he's not a really good quarterback, but he was under Will Stein for a couple of years and looked pretty good. It's just crazy. I remember when we were doing the making the case, reading the chat, and nobody was listening. Like nobody was like mad, nobody was like happy. I know there's a couple people in the chat that love Will Stein, but like, I think that was the one making the case we got the least feedback from. Everyone else, like, it was very polarizing as we were talking, and people would be like, oh, I love this guy. Oh, I hate this guy. Will Stein, I think everybody collectively just I just don't think he moves the needle for Arkansas fans. I don't think they care about him.
It's one of those deals where because I'm sure you got the question, who's your number one, who's your top three, who's your top five, he goes through the list of power rankings for what coach you'd want. I'm with you. I could convince myself and get excited about Will Stein. I think that there's enough to be said about that, but I'm also, I get why there may be some skepticism, because he's never been a head coach at a high level. And that, I don't care how awesome you are, is people may cite like, well, this guy who was never a head coach before, he became a head coach and look what happened. Every guy had to be a head coach at some point. It's like, yeah, but there's also a bunch of examples of people who've never been head coach before that went to a place and were absolute failures. So it's like it's always going to be one of those red flags that you're going to have against somebody. And I'm not comparing him to Sam Pittman whatsoever. I'm just saying Sam Pittman was never been a head coach before. I definitely feel like, looking back on Pittman's deal, it did not go as badly as what it could have, but it also wasn't this tremendous thing, because that's why he's no longer the head coach at Arkansas.
Well, part of why the Pittman thing worked for the time that it did work is because they went out of their way to get the best possible OC in Kendall Riles, the best possible DC in Barry Odom. And for those, I guess it was 3 years, 2020 to 2022, 3 years. You had the COVID year, you go 9-4, you go 7-6, and the defense really struggled in that 2022 season. But it's like, if they had just simply had those two coordinators for the entire time, I'm inclined to believe Arkansas probably would have just made a bunch of bowl games and been pretty solid, pretty stable. Not that we would have loved Sam Pittman and thought he was great, but context definitely matters. And so if you're going to do the Will Stein thing, I think there's no doubt you would have to invest heavily in the coordinators, the staff, make sure he had experienced people around him. But that's probably the case for anyone. And I get people being kind of like, oh, first-time head coach, is that a thing? I think people would be stunned if you looked at the top 25 rankings and realized how many of the current programs at the top hired guys straight from coordinators or hired guys for their first head coaching job. And then there's a few teams like Tennessee or whoever that are hiring guys in their second head coaching job. Like, there's a lot of relatively young head coaches who are crushing it in college football right now, including one that Will Stein is learning under in Dan Lanning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, you could, for every type of coach example, you could point to one that worked out great and another one that worked out terribly. And I know that, people will use this example either for or against, but it's like Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart was never a head coach. And then guess what? He went to Georgia. Well, yeah. Is it easier to win at Georgia? Of course. But he's done it, and he's won, 2 national titles, played for 3 or 4, constantly in the playoffs. And yeah, it's done really well there. But you also had from Alabama, if we're talking about coordinators and whatnot, the DJ Durkin thing, he was Alabama, or Jim McElwain and the offensive coordinator that just didn't work out. So the point is like, you could, anybody that ever brings up an example of like, Chad Morris 2.0, because this coach came from this conference or this school, that's one of the things that will make me not listen to any argument that you ever have about a coach, is if you try to bring up some like one example of why it's just like, oh, in fact, that may be something I want to ban, Andrew. I just want to ban anybody in the coaching search that says so-and-so 2.0. Stop that. That's one of my biggest annoyances. If you're like hiring Rhett Lashley, Chad Morris 2.0 because he's from SM. Stop. We need to ban the 2.0s in coaching searches.
I think it's okay. I know this could sound crazy, John, so bear with me here. I think it's okay to like look at things as a case-by-case basis and look at the surrounding context and then just kind of try and figure it out from there. I, as sports fans, we do that a lot where like we see a player who's similar like in size to someone else, someone that's 6'5", 200, and we're like, could this guy be Ricky Council? That's always how our brains work. We're always trying to like fit things into the box that our brain can already comprehend. But it's like, yeah, these are completely different situations. Rhett Lashley at SMU in a different conference, in a different setup in college football, different everything. That is a completely different situation than Chad Morris. There's not really a ton of similarities there. Now, there are some similar, and I think a lot of times when you're looking at all these candidates that we have, whether it's Golish, whether it's Franklin from Penn State, whether it's Stein, every single guy that Arkansas might hire is going to be asked to do a very different job than the job they were doing before. Just a very night and day different context. And that's stuff that we have to consider. And there's not a right, there is a right or wrong answer, but it's not even really as much of a black and white of like, oh, this guy would suck and this guy would be awesome. All of these guys are at the top of their profession. In the right context, all of these guys can look good. Brett Bielema, if you give him the right context, can put together a really good football team. Any of these guys, you know what I mean? Jeff Traylor, you put the right context around him, he can have a lot of success. James Franklin, clearly. And so I think a lot of times we kind of just have to have an open mind and really consider, all right, if we're going to go with this guy, what are his pros and cons? What are his strengths and weaknesses? How can we make this work? I think if the U of A thinks with that mentality, I think if we think with that mentality, we can have a lot more interesting conversations, but everyone is so dead set on this guy sucks, this guy's good, this guy hasn't won enough, this guy sucks. And it's just like, we're just kind of continuing to do this catfight thing.
Andrew, well, I'm just announcing it here and now. You're going to be randomly drug tested for having such a take. You should be medicated if you're not, because that is such an absurd thing for you to be coming out here and saying logical stuff. All right, you can't do that stuff.
I think people would be stunned, John, if they, because I think a lot of times we do these shows and we call it making the case, and people really do think that we like, if we're having a conversation about James Franklin, they think we are arguing that like James Franklin is the guy. And if we're having a conversation about Golish, oh, we're saying Golish is the guy, and like we're feeling very firm on that. And I just don't think we really are that definitive in the things that we're saying.
No, because again, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of gray area, and that's why we talk about them. That's why we discuss them and have some fun with them too. So we'll continue to get to your discussions. Also, I want to break some news on the other side of this when we talk. Well, first, we got to tell you about Drain Masters of Arkansas. They are the ones that are going to help you out with all of your plumbing and drain cleaning needs throughout Northwest Arkansas, River Valley, Oklahoma, and beyond. They're officially licensed, so you know that they got it going on there, and they are ready to handle every single plumbing and drain cleaning need with professional and reliable service. I was actually talking to our guy Jacob today, and they're doing great things, man. They're staying busy, but they definitely understand that sometimes things happen and things pop up when you least expect it at your home or at your business, and they're always at the ready ready to help you out. So if you need to request a service, give them a call today at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. Or scan the QR code right there on your screen, take you right to their website, or you can check out their Facebook page at Drain Masters Inc. And anytime that you request a service, folks, be sure to tell them that Inside Arkansas sent you, and you get 10% off all of their services. 10% off, no matter what it is, you get 10% off whenever you say, hey, the fellas of Inside Arkansas sent me over to you. Anything and everything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. Give them a call today, 479-646-5585. Okay, Andrew, my breaking news. I'm going to pull you. I got some breaking news. I have an update on the status of Sam Pittman. I have an update on his status. And this is coming from one of my really trusted sources. He is happy and he is enjoying life. And he is someone that wishes things would have been different, but has found some peace, and him and Jamie just living it up and enjoying life. So there it is. Also, too, just to throw on top of that, there is a theory that he actually, not surprising, not something anyone's heard, but that there truly is a belief that there was, he wanted to call it a career early a year ago. But his particular agent said no because of money and money purposes. So just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think one, I'm happy to hear that he's happy, and who knows like how he really feels deep down, and if he's like really depressed, is he going to tell people about that? I don't know. But on a very serious personal note, like, I have a lot of respect for Sam Pittman. I have a lot of positive feelings, positive memories, I have a very positive outlook on Sam Pittman, the person. I even, call me crazy, even have a positive outlook on Sam Pittman, the coach. Like, we had some good times together. I view his tenure at Arkansas as a net positive, frankly. Like, I know that it ended horribly, and like you said, should have ended a year ago. He should have been able to just kind of walk off and do his thing. Had it ended last December, we all would have said, all right, you know what? Solid job by Sam Pittman. We thank you for your service. Let's move on. The fact that they did run it back in this season and it stunk does change the equation a little bit. But for me personally, I don't now view Sam Pittman in a super negative context. And so I do hope that he finds, that solace. I hope he finds peace and comfort, and he's got a lot of money to do it, and he's going to be hanging out in Hot Springs with Jamie, and I'm sure he's going to have a good time. I know there's a lot of Hog fans who do not agree with any of the things that I'm saying right now, but just me personally, I do not have a ton of animosity or vitriol in my heart for Sam Pittman, and I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm with you. In fact, of the last 4 head coaches that Arkansas's had in their football program, he's definitely the one I've liked the most, or at least have the least amount of any animosity towards. He wanted the job. He loved it. He wanted it to work. I don't think it was a lack of effort. I don't think it was just like, like other coaches, he just got drunk and fat and happy and rich and didn't care anymore. I don't think he was in over his head like some other coaches. I think he gave it. I think he gave it his all, and it just didn't work out. And so it's kind of how I view John Pelfrey. Like, I think Pelfrey, we could compare a little bit. But I don't have any problems with John Pelfrey. I mean, he gave it his all. He tried, it just didn't work out. That's all it was. Just didn't work out.
And I think the high moments with Pittman, in terms of just our relationship with him, I feel like they were higher with Pittman. I would also clarify that, like, Pittman did a lot of things that annoyed me. A lot of things that, like, some things that he would say publicly that even rubbed me the wrong way, and I would get mad at those, and I would be very critical. And so I'm definitely not arguing of like, oh no, actually this tenure was awesome. That's not really what I'm doing. I just personally, I don't have any real animosity. I didn't like the coach down the stretch. I thought that Arkansas needed to make a change. They made a change, and that's all good. But yeah, even in those moments where I was annoyed by stuff he was saying at the press conference and annoyed by some of the things that we would see happen on Saturdays, and the undisciplined and the just not being ready, all that drove me nuts. I never felt like it was Sam Pittman, mailing it in, or Sam Pittman not caring, And so I think as time goes on, and I mean, there's already been almost 2 months now where we've kind of had time to reflect on this. I think in the future, we'll all be able to look back at Pittman and be like, you know what? It was fine.
Yeah. I've always felt like if I ever saw like the coach out in public, not that they would even know who I was, but if I saw Brett Bielema, I'd probably give a look of like, ugh, like that. If I saw Chad Morris, I'd probably just laugh. If I saw him, just be like, oh gosh, this guy. But if I saw Pittman, I'd give him a nod, give him a little coach, how are you type of thing, just very cordial, very cordial.
I would like the opportunity to look Pittman in his eye and shake his hand and say, hey, thanks for being a Hog.
Yep.
Slap him on the ass.
Yes.
Go get him, kid.
I'm sure he would love that too. Shout out to Michael. Appreciate super chat once again. Badly. He says, I mean, Will Stein could be Lincoln Riley. We don't know, but he will be great one day. Plus, we did land in Eugene, Oregon. Yeah.
I do think there is something too. I mean, who knows how Will Stein's career is going to end up. I think he is going to be a guy, though, that in 10 years, let's say that Will Stein stays at Oregon. He has a couple more good years there, and then he takes, let's say, the Louisville job. He ends up going back to his alma mater at Louisville, and he just rattles off ACC title game appearances and takes him to the playoff. That'll be one that we look back on and say, oh, dang, we could have been the one to take that swing. It is also possible that Will Stein takes another job and crashes and burns. Like, I really genuinely, I'm not even trying to act like I know. I don't know. I just do think, I think there's something to the premise that if you're in Arkansas's position, you have to take the bold risk and see if it'll pay out for you. Because I don't think you'll get that opportunity to hire a guy that young and on the up and up again. Like, you won't get another chance to hire Will Stein.
No. And also, if you look at historically speaking for Arkansas and their football hires, I think I could be wrong, but Pittman was the first one that was never a head coach. It's not even like they've hired coordinators. Yeah. They haven't even hired coordinators before. And it's I brought that up to somebody, and somebody's like, well, that shows you that's what we're missing is that. It's like, no, that doesn't mean that. That's not what it's saying. It's just it's fascinating because some who say, well, we should go a coordinator route because of A, B, and C. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like, I think we were even talking in the Discord, or I was having a discussion in the Discord. Somebody was like, yeah, I don't think our backup option needs to be like Dabo or Will Stein, not Ryan Silverfield or Alex Golish. I'm like, so you would rather have Will Stein, an offensive coordinator who's never been a head coach before? That would be a better backup plan than getting Ryan Silverfield or Alex Golish, who are head coaches that are doing pretty well? That doesn't make much sense. So, but hey, again, teach their own. Everyone's got their opinion. I get it.
That is a pet peeve of mine a little bit when people do the thing where they're like, well, we should get a G5 guy. We should get a coordinator. We should get a current whatever. And it's like, listen, there are examples of guys that go from power 4 job to power 4 job and have a lot of success. There are examples of guys that go from group of 5 job to power 4 job and have a lot of success. There are guys that go from coordinator to power 4 head coach and have success. There are also examples in all three of those categories of people sucking. And so, the premise alone of let's get a coordinator just to get a coordinator, or let's get a current group of 5 coach just to get one, it's all about every guy is different. Every situation is different. No two are equal. The context matters. And so it's I think you should fall in love with the guy. And then if he happens to fit those criteria that you like, cool. But I think it's really, these guys are all kind of unique cases.
Absolutely. We'll continue to get to your chats and some more coaching talk, as well as some basketball talk and chats and everything. But I want to remind everybody, Bet Saracen's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas, and it's not even close. They're having specials all the time, absolutely all the time. When it comes to Razorback sports, they have specials and parlays and all that great stuff for Arkansas, Michigan State, the basketball game tomorrow. They still got future bets. If you're feeling like the Arkansas Razorbacks are going to win it all, they got that too. So get to winning big with Bet Saracen. And the best thing about it, folks, is that you can use our exclusive link and code, where if you click the link below in the description or you scan that QR code on your screen, when you download the Bet Saracen app, you can use the code INSIDEAR. Inside AR, what you get is when you bet $25, you get $125. It's as simple as that. Again, you got to use the link that's in the description. Got to use that QR code. But when you do, and it'll take you right to download the app, be sure to use code INSIDEAR, where you bet $25 and get $125. And apparently so many of you have used this code, which we so much appreciated, that Bet Saracen is keeping it going and keeping the deal going with us exclusively here at Inside Arkansas. So be sure to get it done. Bet Saracen, it's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Which, fun fact also, Andrew, I'm going to spill the beans a little bit, but me, you, Curtis, and even intern Reagan, we're going to have a little video promo for our stuff with Bet Saracen. So we're really looking forward to our partnership there and telling them about the great things that's going on. So that's when you know you've made it big, when you start being in other people's commercials. That's big.
Do we get to be in the room with DMAC and all the other guys there?
I don't know if we're at that level yet, but we're on our way. We're on our way there for sure. So that would be pretty fun. I would love to know what us three could come up with. They're like, all right, guys, we want you to be in the Bet Saracen commercial, but we want to lean on you guys to recreate a movie scene. What would be the movie scene? Me and you and Curtis, because that's what they're doing now. Is they're doing the Big Lebowski and bowling, which still cracks me up.
Yeah.
But like, what would be a good movie scene for me, you, and Curtis to recreate?
Hot
Like,
tub time machine.
What's funny is I didn't want to say that, but I was going to say like The Hangover when they lost Doug, and it's just them three. You got Alan, and we could do that. Curtis wears glass. I guess. I mean, I hate to do it, but you'd have to be Alan because you got the long hair, not because you look like Alan.
I'll wear the shirt with the wolf on it and everything. It's fine. Okay. It's fine.
Right. And then me and Curtis will fight over who gets to be Bradley Cooper. But that would be fun. But either way, yeah, it's
Curtis is Bradley Cooper, by the way.
Yeah. Well, because the only reason I was not going to say because I'm the best looking one. No, it's because Curtis has the glasses and Stu has glasses. So that's the only reason why. But we'll fight it out.
Are you saying Michelle is like Stu's girlfriend in that?
Yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, he's like, or I'm the one that has to, or no, no, never mind. I was thinking of the other one. No, I didn't say that. Michelle, I didn't say that. You're so not that one. Yeah, who was what was it? A bellhop that they kept messing up who it was that she was with. Yeah.
It kept changing. He was a bellhop, and then he was like a
bartender.
Yeah. Bartender.
Yeah, we're gonna get ourselves in trouble without Curtis being here. Let's see some other chats. Appreciate you. Austin says girls basketball team going off. Yeah, they did. They won 101-49 over the UAPB Golden Lions. So
they did not decide to fall down by 15 in the first 3 minutes of this game.
Yeah, they're looking strong in the first couple of games. I know it was elementary school day. We were talking about that. Just a lot of loud, high pitched noises coming from Bud Walton Arena, and so
good for the kids that get to see some ball. I'm sure. I don't know how many kids are in there total. I don't know how many saw, and I don't know how many were inspired by what they saw. I would be willing to bet, John, that at least one kid in there, his or her life changed today. Seeing the Razorbacks first time, it might just be one. It literally might be one, but I bet there's one kid that fell in love with Razorback women's basketball today, and I'm happy for that kid. Yep.
If it's just one, then it's worth it. It's a fun fact. When I was in elementary school up here in Fayetteville, I went to Butterfield Elementary School. Shout out Broncos. And we didn't get to go to a women's basketball game, but the women's basketball team came to our elementary school, and I didn't know it in the time, but it was the team that went to the Final Four in 1998. So I was like, that's kind of cool looking back on it.
You want to know a quick little tidbit from intern Cameron on the women's basketball team?
What's that?
Last season, they had one 90-point game, and they now have 2 through 2 games of the Kelsey Music era.
Wow. So what you're saying is just wins only. We're going to the tournament, baby. We're going to the tournament. That's all I'm hearing.
What I'm saying is Kelsey Music has already surpassed Mike Neighbors, period. That's a joke. It's a joke.
Yes. But here's my thing, and I wish Kelsey Music nothing but the best, but crying out loud, somebody win a dadgum NCAA tournament game, because it is sad that Jimmy Dykes has more NCAA tournament victories than like any of the coaches combined before and after. So
Jimmy Dykes, who the team openly hated,
yes.
They won an NCAA tournament game.
Make it make sense. Let's see. I like this from Not a Burner. He says, my favorite part about coaching searches is beefing with random fan bases. We got Virginia Tech flexing 10-year-old Belk Bowls as justification as being better job for Franklin. This is my favorite part. I do admit it's great.
They were like, yeah, you remember when Drew Morgan spat on our guy while Jeremy Sprinkle sat out? That proves that's what's going to be a big deciding factor for James Franklin here.
Yeah, because he's going to be looking up going to Winsipedia and seeing like, all right, what's the series victories between these two teams? Who's got more? And that's what he's going to be basing his decision on. But hey, whatever you can count on. Because I don't even think Arkansas has ever played Virginia Tech in basketball that I can remember, and I don't think they've played in baseball that I can remember. So
I can't remember one.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because they stink in all the other sports, and they're still like riding the coattails of, well, we had Frank Beamer that one time. It's like, oh, good for you. You were known for special teams. How outstanding stuff. You had Michael Vick, and what'd you do with him? No.
Yeah, you'd run a punt back every 4 weeks. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Good for you. Ryan says, is it safe to say that hiring somebody with no college head coaching experience is a non-starter and should be viewed as a huge failure?
So I don't agree with that. I don't necessarily think Arkansas should hire Will Stein or should hire someone else. I have been interested by that. Actually, now that I think about it, I would agree. The fan base does agree with you, because I think that most Hog fans do agree. They don't want anything to do with a guy who is not currently a head coach. I just don't agree with that being a sentiment, simply for the reason that, like I said, half the teams in the top 25 hired coordinators. And then another 5 or 6 hired guys that had only had one head coaching job. And so as much as I think head coaching experience matters, I don't think it should be a non-starter and something that should be a failure no matter what. I do think, though, if Arkansas wound up hiring Will Stein, the majority of the fan base would be pretty pissed about it.
Yeah. And it's, again, it could work out, but it's not inspiring because it makes you wonder. This is nothing against Will Stein. It just makes you wonder how many people said no to you, like he should not be in your top 3, top 5 even on your list. And so if it's like you go down to Will Stein, I am not saying, well, you should just cut Petrino, but it's going to be like one of those things where like, all right, this could be even worse. Like it could, but like there's, we talk about James Franklin in the floor, for some of these coaches. Like if you hire somebody like Will Stein, could the ceiling be high? Sure. But the floor could be
low.
2-10. Like, yeah, it's like it could absolutely continue on. So let's see. Addison says, to balance the Curtis glazing, the bombastic is the best podcast ever imagined or conceived. Happy birthday, Andrew. Look at that.
I like that.
Look at that.
Yeah, I don't have a consistent catchphrase on bombastic of like where I open the show with the, like you do a good job of that, where like you have the same, things that you'll say that kind of lets you know you're watching the same show. But every now and then I'll just like start listing off the bombastic. I'm like, best baseball show anyone's ever thought of, heard of, ever knew was possible or whatever. And one day I'm going to expand it and just make it like a 3-minute thing.
You want to know the true reason why I do the things that I do, like opening up the show? The true reason is because when I first was getting into radio, it's kind of like with maybe in what you've gone through. I was so uncomfortable with like figuring out how to open the show. Like I know what I want it to be, but it just sounds clunky and weird and all of that. And I was like, you know what? I'll just stick with the same thing, because it was actually Colin Cowherd he'd always open up the show the same way. Oh, it's the Herd from Colin Cowherd. Like he would open up that way. And so I just was like, I'm gonna stick with it. And ever since then, I've used it on every radio show, every podcast, every stream, everything. So just, it's comfort.
I think there's also something to like I don't want to say it's not like the Pavlov's dog type of thing, but it's like doing the same things. It's like kind of people know you're okay. It's like when you're watching a Star Wars movie and they say, I've got a bad feeling about this. It's like, now it's like, oh yeah, we're watching a Star Wars movie. That's right. We're good.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. They never say those things and just beat those things to death at all in Star Wars movies.
They look right into the camera nowadays and they're like,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah. It's like, now we're going to do the thing. They look right into it, breaking the fourth wall. Quinn, Tom, is this Quinn? Like our Quinn?
I think it might be.
Okay, sorry. The username stuff still pisses me off. But Kenny Dillingham was his OC first year. Bo was at Oregon.
Which, by the way, Kenny Dillingham is something that we brought up when we did the Will Stein thing. He was the guy who had Will Stein's job before Will Stein, and he went on to be a very successful head coach. The guy who coached both of them at Oregon was a first-time head coach who is crushing it. The guy who Dan Lanning worked for was Kirby Smart, who was a first-time head coach who was crushing it. That doesn't necessarily mean all those things do not equal Will Stein's going to be a great head coach. I do think that if Will Stein turned out to be a good head coach, it would make sense logistically, right?
I mean, I would think so. Yeah, logistically it would. Let's see a few more chats here too, because I know we'll have some other things to get into.
I forgot Quinn is the Bo Nix Auburn thing. I completely forgot about that. Do you think Auburn fans claim Bo Nix? Probably not, right?
How long was he at Auburn?
I think like 2 or 3. It was at least 2 years. I think maybe 3.
I mean, does Arkansas claim KJ?
KJ we do, because he KJ's best years as a collegiate athlete happened at Arkansas, and he owns all of our records and all that. I feel like they don't claim Bo Nix because like Bo Nix had his best years at Oregon.
Who gets to claim Felipe Franks?
Neither, honestly.
Wow.
I don't think Florida fans are like dying to claim him, but we'll take him. He's ours.
Yeah, true that. We'll get some more stuff, folks. Real quick though, super chat. Of course, always a trip. Appreciate Josh. He says, having a hard time with we can't miss on head coach hire, but they are all a big risk, especially ones with no SEC experience.
Well, so this is kind of the crux of the issue, because I've seen a few people say that, where they're like, we can't hire this guy because we can't afford to miss. And it's like, all of these guys could be a miss. Like James Franklin, who we all agree is like kind of the most proven, stable option. Like, it's very possible Arkansas hires James Franklin and he doesn't crush it. You know what I mean? Like, that's always a possibility. It's possible they hire Golish, who on paper checks all the boxes. It might not work out. And so it's like, I know Josh Byers is the guy. He's coming from the just hire Bobby standpoint. Bobby Petrino would also be a massive risk. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't really understand what we're supposed to take from that.
Yeah.
Like, well, hiring James Franklin would be a risk. Yeah, okay. Hiring Golish would be a risk. Yeah. Hiring Will Stein would be a risk. You're hiring a coach in the SEC. It's like, it's very possible that they all suck.
Yes. I know. That's my thing, is like, you're going to roll the dice. And no matter who it is, there's going to be a certain level of risk. It's just a matter of, who do you feel more confident in that is not going to take that risk and make it a negative? Like, yeah, there's just no matter. You could hire Nick Saban right now, and there's going to be risk. There's going to be some stuff you could find about anybody. It's just a matter of how much risk you actually feel comfortable with. But we'll continue your chats, and also we'll talk a little basketball, even though Curtis isn't here, which I'm sure will just blow his mind, and he'll hate it so much and have so much FOMO. But that's okay, because we're still going to talk about it. But either way, want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, Air of the Ozarks is one of our new sponsors and the latest sponsors here, where we know it's getting to that time of year. It's really nice outside, but as you know, at nighttime, it gets cold, and you got to make sure that your heating is ready to roll this winter, because it's always going to be a cold one. There's nothing worse than having to deal with it when it's the coldest temperatures outside. So make no mistake, wait zero time. Go ahead and knock it out, because since 2018, Air of the Ozarks Heating and Air Conditioning have been serving Northwest Arkansas with trusted HVAC repairs and installation services for all residential and commercial clients. And they understand that your HVAC system is a major investment, so that's why they make sure that you're getting the best possible service on it. And you can request an estimate or service by calling their number, 479-795-2018. That's 479-795-2018. And the best deal about it, folks, is the first 20 callers that call will get a free preventative maintenance or service call. That's right, free preventative maintenance or service call, which they're already running down pretty thin. So if you want to get that free deal, you better call them now, 479-795-2018. But even if you're not one of the first 20 callers, the new customers get the half off of their preventative maintenance and service calls. So no matter what, you get a great deal. And so give them a call today. Check out the website at airoftheozarks.com. It's Air of the Ozarks. Better air, better service, just better. Which, by the way, I know, again, Curtis isn't here, but we're picking. We all did, I believe, in our Razorback update, Arkansas to beat Michigan State, correct?
Yes, I believe we did.
Except Dudley.
Dudley picked Michigan State, eh?
He picked Michigan State by 8 because he cited the home record of them over there in Michigan State is like under Tom Izzo is something stupid, like 250-30 or something like that.
Listen, it's certainly not a crazy case to make that the team at home with a ruckus environment, that they would hold serve, Hall of Fame head coach. All the metrics, by the way, I haven't seen where the spread is on Saracen or where it's at. I know it opened around Arkansas plus 1.5-ish. It was like almost dead even to pick them. A lot of the metrics have Michigan State favored by a point, favored by 2 points. Like, I'm not saying that we're all wrong here, but a lot of the metrics do seem to favor Michigan State and think that home court advantage is going to matter. I know, obviously, we're going to do the bit of like, are Arkansas's freshmen ready for this? I don't really buy that narrative. Like, I don't think Malik Thomas is going to be there in East Lansing and he's going to be like, I don't know what to do. They're yelling at me. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I do think stylistically it's like, can Arkansas carry this high-powered offense and take it to the road? I'm skeptical that Michigan State can score with Arkansas, and I'm skeptical that they're going to be able to slow Arkansas down, but I certainly am not going to disagree too heavily with anybody who thinks the home field or home court advantage is going to matter a lot.
Right, and as of right now, according to Bet Saracen, Michigan State's still favored by 1.5. Over-under set at 155.5, so it has moved up a point. I believe is at 154.5 yesterday. So if you want to bet the money line plus 105 for Arkansas, which I did, went ahead and bet them. But like you said, I'm just going to go and get everybody prepared. It's not going to matter because y'all are still yelling at Curtis and Andrew tomorrow on Pot at the Palace post-game show. But if Arkansas loses this game, and I think it's a matter of how, but if they lose this game, say by a final score of like 78-74, no one should look at this game and just be like, well, that's a bit, this team sucks. They're so far away. They ain't good. Like, stop. You want to win. You want to win every game. But this isn't some like exhibition crapperware game that's at a neutral court that you just come out and look like you've never played a game before. Now, if you get blown out, I'm not saying there's not cause for concern, but it definitely would be disappointing beyond belief. But I'm expecting them to win. I'm going to be upset if they don't win. But it's also not just completely shutting down the season because this team lost their second game on the road in one of the toughest environments around against a physical Michigan State team. if there was ever a time to say they played to, what was it that stupid Purdue guy said, like played to improve or played to
learn
develop
or whatever.
Yeah, they played to get to develop while the other team played to win. I won't go that far, but it will be a nice, all right, where you stack up because you're going to be facing some really good physical teams down the road. Let's get out of the gates here and find out exactly how good you are, which is why I love the way Cal does his scheduling in the non-conference.
100%. And that's the good thing here is, like you said, there's not like, it's not the end of the world if you lose, because it's like you have 6 other big opportunities to make a statement, 6 other big opportunities to improve your resume in a big way. You go out there and beat Duke on Thanksgiving Day, we're not even going to remember what happened in this Michigan State game. You beat Louisville at home in front of a ruckus Bud Walton Arena, we're going to be fine. If you go out there and beat Texas Tech, you go out there and beat Houston, you can clean up all of your mistakes. And the same goes for if you beat Michigan State. If you beat Michigan State by 20 tomorrow, but then you lose to Duke, you lose to Louisville, you lose to Houston, you lose, it's like all of a sudden it would maybe not feel the same. I got to say, I would be like a little bit bummed if they lost tomorrow, and not that reason of like, I think that this means we're overrated or we got exposed. I just want to live in this trance that we're in right now, where we're so in love with this basketball team. And like we've said all week, like if they win this game, it's not a guarantee they'll win out until they play Duke, but you wouldn't have to play a real game until Thanksgiving Day. That's 3 full weeks of us beating our chest and feeling really good. I also think this team would start to get a ton of national notoriety, some momentum, some buzz, and I just want to see them get it, man. I think they deserve it. I think they, hopefully they go out and earn it tomorrow. I really want to see that happen, and it's not going to be the end of the world, but if they lose tomorrow, it's the opposite, where we kind of just have to accept that we're not going to get any buzz or any publicity until they knock off Duke or they knock off one of these other teams.
That's right. And you got to remember too, that if Arkansas wins, I just know how it's going to be. If Arkansas wins, there'll be some national guys and national people, they'll be like, man, that was a nice win. Arkansas's looking good. But there's also going to be the morons that are going to be like, well, it's like, what'd you expect? I mean, Tom Izzo's past his prime. He's not any good. And, Arkansas, there's going to be some justification for it. But at least here, I know we've talked about with Curtis, but at least here in inside Arkansas, and I think most of the fans, if you go out there and you beat Michigan State, man, that's really sets you into a way of, it's going to, you're already excited, but it gets you to that point of like, okay, now I'm so excited that I'm getting scared, like type of thing. Like, man, how cool is this? And we don't know the status of Carter Knox yet. At least I don't think we do. So we'll see if he ends up playing. But imagine, and I want him to play, but imagine if he doesn't play and Arkansas still wins. Like how insane that'll be. Where it's like, jeez, how do you not start really, planning some reservations up there at St. Elmo's? It's just it's that level of game that you're already excited, but it'll put you into a fever pitch of like, oh, okay, this might be real.
I do love how I think we have 2 groups now of Hog fans who cannot see any possible route to them losing to Michigan State tomorrow. There are a lot that feel that way. I don't think we feel that way, but I think there are a lot of Hog fans who have that much confidence that are like, there's just no chance. And then you also have a lot of people who are looking at this Michigan State home record of, oh, they never lose non-conference games in November, which, by the way, how many times do they play games at home in November against a team they are ranked lower than? Maybe it's happened a few times. I'm sure it has, but, I can't imagine there's many of those games. So, frankly, all the games they play against Norfolk State or whoever the hell at home in November mean nothing to me. But I do think it's funny how it's like there's such a respect for that home court, and there's such a respect for, the program that Tom Izzo has, the physicality of Michigan State. And so you have people on both sides. And that's why I think, like, if Arkansas goes out there and wins tomorrow, I think we need to acknowledge what that means. And it wouldn't be the end of the world, but if you are giving Michigan State all this respect and you're scared about the home record and all that, well, then understand what that means if Arkansas goes in there and wins. And like I said, I don't, it kind of doesn't mean as much because they don't really have many of these matchups. But if we're setting the standard at, oh, there's no way you could win a game in East Lansing in November, they never do that. Well, then if we go out there and win, you're going to have to give us that respect.
That's right. That's exactly right. Which is part of our alumni all question today, by the way. Ultimate Razorback shopping experience. I think the Hog fans are confident because it was simple. Do you believe the Hogs beat Michigan State tomorrow? 91% say yes. So, I mean, if that's not confidence on you're an underdog against Michigan State, and 91% of you say, yeah, we're going to win. I love that. Keep that energy. Keep that energy up. Because what is it after? If they, not to say they'll have any easy game and it's all just easy sailing, because there's never anything guaranteed, but the most difficult game they'll have next will be Duke, right? And Thanksgiving.
Yeah, not till Thanksgiving Day.
And then if they win that one on top of that, I'm gonna start puking. Like I'm gonna start getting that thing of like, dude, man, it's kind of like watching Razorback baseball, like roll through the Arlington deal, and then they play like a midweek against Arizona State, some team that's really good, and they roll through that. You're like, oh, how do you not get excited?
I mean, we've been ranked number 1 in baseball enough to where that no longer is like a thing that like gets us excited, especially when you spend the whole year. But there's a lot of times in baseball season where I just look at the schedule and I'm like, okay, they're going to go to Arlington. They're ranked number 5 right now. If they sweep in Arlington, they'll maybe move up to 2 or 3. And then I'm looking at some of this. I'm like, oh, there's a very clear path to Arkansas being ranked number 1 on this date. There is a very real path to Arkansas being ranked number 1 or number 2 in the country. And it starts tomorrow. You win tomorrow, that path becomes pretty clear. It's like beat Duke. You might be there. I mean, we'll see what all happens in the next 3 weeks, but it's like it's exciting, man, and it doesn't mean anything. I know we would much rather go to the Final Four than be ranked number 1, but for the moment we're living in now, which is all we can do, it's very exciting, man, and I think that should not be lost on folks.
Yeah, real quick. No, we maybe should have made a poll question out of this one too, but like the highest that Arkansas has been ranked as a basketball program this millennium has been 8th. Do they surpass that this year?
Yes.
Okay. So
I think if they beat Michigan State, they will surpass it by the time they play Duke. Like, I don't know necessarily right off the bat, like Monday be ranked number 7, but I think by the time they play Duke, a few weeks will have gone by. Some teams will have lost. I could see them, if they win tomorrow, I think they will get up into the 6 to 10 range.
Yeah, especially when Kentucky starts taking all those L's, man. They're going to drop like hotcakes down in the polls. It's like
John, I need your help a little bit.
What's up?
I need you to help me decipher this chat and what it means. It's y'all's fault, not like y'all talk about them like y'all did the football team's defense.
Is this towards us or towards the chat? That's always the thing that I've always.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do. Maybe I scrolled the chat a little bit. Perhaps it was a response to me saying that Hog fans are very confident.
Okay.
In which case, we will take the blame for that, I guess. Yeah, we're taking the blame, but it's like, I think you should be very confident, frankly.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Nigel, if you want to follow up and just, clarify a little bit, we can respond to that if that's the case. But do want to remind everybody that Goat Lab Red, it's one of our great sponsors here. Appreciate Bill Adams, the owner of Goat Lab Red, but is also Goat Lab Brewery. And don't forget the Grove Comedy Club, which has some of the great entertainers. And this month, actually Friday, November 28th, D.L. Hewley coming in live at the Grove Comedy Club. It's Friday, November 28th at 6:30. And you can buy tickets right now if you go to goatlabbrewery.com. Definitely somebody that's, if you've ever saw the original Kings of Comedy, which I was a fan of way back when, that's where DL was featured on. But he's been a highly recognized stand-up comedian. And he makes a lot of impressions on television, film, radio, everything like that. So if you're wanting to get in on that and see some great comedy shows all the time, but especially with D.L. Hewley coming into town, be sure to go to goatlabbrewery.com and click on their events page. You can get all the events that they have upcoming, all the great shows that they have, or the Grove Comedy Club, I should say, and which are connected, by the way. So if somebody gets confused, like, wait, I thought you said Goat Lab Brewery or the Grove. Well, hey, they're both right next door to each other, both owned by Bill. And both have some great shows up there. So be sure to do it today, but also be sure to stop by Goat Lab Red. See our pretty faces there each and every day at lunch at Inside Arkansas at 1214 North Garland Avenue. It's Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville. Because you went and saw, which show did you see up there, Andrew?
I saw Nikki Glazer up there. I was just about to say, fun fact, they take you, if you go to a comedy show, they make you put your phone in this little thing that you can't, they don't want you recording the actor or whatever. Hillary did not realize that was a thing.
Oh.
So we get to the Nikki Glazer show, and we got there like 30, 40 minutes early, and they take your phone as soon as you walk in the door. She was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? I'm like, yeah, you got to put your phone up or whatever. And she was like, so we're just going to sit here with no phones until the show starts? I'm like, yeah, it's just the way it goes, man. She's about to go on SNL, bro. They don't want these jokes leaking.
Yeah, I'd say it probably felt like you were living in a stone age over there, like nobody with their phone in there. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm trying to remember. Bill said something funny at the end where he was like, hope everyone had a good time. And if you didn't, whatever. or something. I can't remember what he said, where he was like, if you didn't have a good time, it's your fault, or something like
that. That's funny. It sounds about right for Bill too. All right, a few super chats here. Josh says was just at saying it sucks knowing the losing could continue. Just ready to have a good football team again. Yeah, well, listen, we're with you.
I think that was the response to the coaches like all being a risk. That was his point, is that it was just kind of scary knowing that the losing could continue, which, yeah, I mean, it is scary, but I do think that's also important context that we all need to understand that, like, sure. This is a very dangerous game, man. Like, this is a very, like, it's not an overreaction to say this is the biggest moment in the athletic department's like recent history. Like, this is a very big moment. You cannot screw this up, and we'll see.
Yeah, because it's the further you get away from your successful runs is makes it worse. And so at some point in time, it comes to that tipping point to where, was it just, you made a couple of mistakes in coaches, or you're a program that just literally can't be set up for winning. Like that's kind of what you're teetering with right here. Which, by the way, super chat from Nigel, he followed up with it saying, I was saying the hype is because y'all haven't been as negative about it basketball like y'all were defense, so expectations are different. Well, I mean, there was a reason to be negative about the defense because the defense was not very good. It wasn't us about like an agenda of saying, all right, well, we're going to be negative towards the defense, even though they're good. They weren't good. And I think that you're seeing it. The basketball team is vastly different because the expectation is high because of what you returned, because of what you did last year, because of who you added, because of everything involved. And yeah, that's where the excitement comes from, plain and simple.
Yeah, I don't know if we can be blamed for this, honestly. I mean, obviously, we've done our fair share of hyping up the basketball team. We all expect them to be really good. We have high expectations. We're excited, and we haven't hid that. But I will say it's just how we feel. Yeah. And we're always capable of being wrong. We're wrong all the time. Hell, we gave the football team actually more credit than they deserve because we had them winning 5 and 6 games respectively, which, again, is just kind of part of it. But it's not like a thing where we didn't want people to be excited about football season. We saw some issues. And it's not like we're like saying, hey, you shouldn't be concerned about the basketball team at all, or that there's no way it could be good. But we think they're going to be pretty good. We've been open about that, and it is what it is. But that's what makes it exciting, man. I would much rather be in this circumstance where we're nervous that they might not live up to our expectations rather than we have such low expectations and hopefully they can prove us wrong.
Yeah. Well, also, too, as we all know, when John Calipari's your head coach, it comes with expectation. It's kind of be like if Nick Saban was a coach of Razorback football, it would come with an expectation. Like it's just plain and simple. So Nigel follows up. Appreciate the super chat. He goes, it's more to the chat people, to be honest. They take things with value too serious, which thank you for that, Nigel. Because sometimes when you say y'all, we try to keep up with it, but y'all sometimes in the chat have your own conversations that we aren't a part of. So thank you for following up and thanks for the super chat. But yeah,
appreciate this. Yeah, the multiple super chats. That's what maybe that'll be our new bit. We pretend like we don't understand until they keep giving super chats to clarify, and then we're like, oh, okay. Now that you've given us money, now we understand. I will say, our chat, we got some merry pranksters in the chat that like to rage bait and troll a little bit, and so sometimes these arguments that we see, we think they're mad at us. Really, they're mad at like Finch, and Finch is really just messing around trolling the whole time. And so that's what we have here on a daily basis.
I'm just gonna say right now, if it gets out of hand with these pranksters and stuff, we're gonna start banning people. I'll put the ban hammer down because maybe just time out, but still, y'all just relax. All right, relax. Shout out to Seth. Appreciate the super chat. He says, biggest factor for me with tomorrow's game, given the matchup, is if Knox plays, that matchup is up at the 3 spot will be what to watch if he doesn't. Just fair.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Cohen Carr is an athletic marvel out there on the wing, man. Like he's like the one guy with Michigan State. I feel like they're good about this, where you think of Michigan State and you think of these like big, strong guys, but then every now and then they have a freak athlete like a Jason Richardson, like Miles Bridges was kind of like that. And Cohen Carr, I'm not putting him in that type of context, but yeah, it's like Carr, if you're going into a matchup where there's a wing player that athletic, I feel like having a guy like Carter Knox, who's not that level of athlete necessarily, but 6'6", 220, can put a body on a guy, can match a little bit of that athleticism, has some link to bother him. Like that certainly matters a little bit. I also think it's Isaiah Sealy. I'm not saying Isaiah Sealy is going to replace what Carter can do. if Carter can't go Saturday, man, what an opportunity for Isaiah Seeley to kind of solidify himself in this rotation and really prove he's a guy. People forget, dude, this time last year, we all liked Billy. It was not a foregone conclusion that Billy Richmond was going to be in the rotation. But then you get into some of these matchups, all of a sudden you realize, oh, Billy's got some tenacity, some dog in him that like we just are going to have. Not saying Isaiah Seeley's going to do that necessarily, but it's like this is your runway right here, buddy. If you want to get your way into this rotation, go out there and put a body on someone.
Yeah. Well, by the way, real quick, I asked this to the Locked On Michigan State guy. I'll ask it to you. You can use your bias if not. Who's a better coach, Tom Izzo or John Calipari?
John Calipari.
Very similar resumes. You gonna go Cal?
Like almost down to the wins. Very similar resumes. I'd go John Calipari. One, because of and this is not an X's and O's thing. I just think that what Cal does is more sustainable, and what he does is get in elite players and let those elite players cook. I think it's been more sustainable. I also think that like there's a higher ceiling on what John Calipari does. And even though they only have the one title, I know Izzo has his one title as well. I feel like Izzo sometimes has had some teams that if they don't have that elite talent, which, he's had some of those, like, I think they're like, sometimes he just has some average teams. John Calipari's had some talented teams that maybe didn't pan out as well as we did, but like, you don't really see many average Cal teams.
Right. No, and I see that's my thing is like Cal's definitely had the pros and they both have won one title, but definitely like that's the one thing we even talked about the other day where like Tom Izzo won his title during the Clinton administration. Like it was so long ago, like, and then Cal's was over a decade ago. I get it, but that's the one thing where, I think Cal's been to 6 Final Fours, Izzo's been to 8. There's not really been any down years. In fact, what was it? When was the last time that they did not make the NCAA tournament?
Who, Cal or Izzo?
Izzo. That 1997 was the last time. So
that's crazy. They haven't missed a tournament under Izzo.
Not according to the wiki.
Had some teams that'll just go like 19-12. Because there's been some Michigan State teams here of late where I'm just like, damn, that's like the most average squad I've ever seen.
Well, it's like I just saw a record where they went 18-12 in 2004, but they went 12-4 in the Big Ten. I'm like, what'd y'all do in the non-con where you lost 8 games? It's like, that's terrible. So anyways, let's see. Our Broken Hog says, people like Chuck and Bo really thought this team would win 10 games. Well, I mean, not calling out any names, but there were some other people, and again, it's your opinion, but there were some other people that said 8 games, all that. I'm going to be honest too. Well, go ahead.
No, your point's more important first. You go first.
I was just going to say, I remember going to SEC football media days and going on so many people's like radio shows and all of that because to talk about Arkansas, because Arkansas doesn't really have a whole lot of Arkansas people over there. So I guess I just by default, I become the person. And I remember going on there like, same question. Hey, Arkansas, Sam Pittman, what do you think? And I'm like, they're not going to be any good. The defense is rough. Like they're just like, that's so depressing. I actually think they're going to be good, man. I think there's a lot of good. It's like, that's why you're covering the team you're covering over there and not talking Arkansas. It's like, because you're like, oh, well, I see this and this. It's like, no, it was never going to be set up. Like, I think we even talked about the ceiling when we did all that stuff. It was like 7-5 was the ceiling, which is still crazy because they've lost 6 games by 1 possession. So close, but doesn't matter. They're going to go 2-10.
I remember after that Ole Miss game actually being more encouraged. And I was like, I remember because I picked Arkansas to go 5-7. I remember watching that Ole Miss game and being like, and they lost it obviously, but I remember coming away from it being like, oh, dang, they actually might be better than I thought they were. Like, I remember feeling that way because, and, going to the Ole Miss game, there were a lot of fans that thought they were going to smoke Ole Miss and thought that, like, them losing to Ole Miss was like a sign that they sucked. And I'm like, damn, I'm actually looking at this like, that was actually an impressive performance in my opinion. But no, it is kind of funny how that works. But I have a funny conversation. I was tagged in. So the Chestnuts preseason were just causing drama under one of my tweets, predicting whatever. I think it was because I kept retweeting the Chuck and Bo clip where they're like, this team's going 9-3. And I kept retweeting it. And then at some point underneath that tweet, there were a bunch of arguments. And the Chestnuts baited someone into saying if Arkansas goes 3-9, they would delete their Twitter account. And as you can see, it's like Arkansas will be maybe lucky to go 3-9 at this point. And the Chestnuts, like every week that Arkansas loses, they keep bringing it up, and they're like, "Oh, you still delete that Twitter account?" And it's pretty funny.
Oh, just so sad, man. You're gonna have in the past 12 years, you're going to have 4 of those 12 years end in 0-8 SEC play seasons. 2 of them ending in 1-7.
Fathom, dude.
2 of them ending in 1-7. You're talking about 6 of the 12, half of your football seasons ending in 1 win or less in SEC play.
Shout out to Connor Limpert for one of those 1-win seasons.
Thank good. Yeah, him and Cole Kelly, the Steamboat. Thank you for that. And also Florida's kicker for not making the field goal before overtime, or to send it to keep it at overtime.
Yeah, one of Arkansas's, those years where they had a 1-win SEC season, one of those was a Ty Broden game-winning catch.
Just like we all anticipated. But it was funny too, because we were talking about Pittman and you're talking about the high. Well, I know this is way back, but I'm like, think about like Arkansas, they rushed the field twice under his tenure. Like they did that. I think that's the most under any coach they've ever done. I don't think they did it. They did it under Bielema once. They did it under Nutt once. Petrino, they never did because, we were too good for that. We didn't rush field.
Even John L. Smith won 2 SEC games.
He did. And granted, both those coaches got fired that he beat. But yes, even a dead clock can be right twice a day. We'll get into your chats, have some fun things. It's Friday, folks. We're just mailing it in. That's what we do. But if there's anything you want to ask us about the head coaching search, we'll definitely pour our sauces out on you and make sure that you know all about it. But want to remind everybody that Hickey & Hole Law is the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas. We know that dealing with legal issues is always a tough thing, but it's even tougher when you don't have the help, when you don't have good advice, when you don't have the representation that you need. So don't worry about doing it yourself. Let the pros help with Hickey & Hole Law Partners. They have offices across the entire state of Arkansas, and it doesn't matter if it's divorce and custody cases, which are extremely important whenever you're dealing with family, kids, all of those things, but they help you out with criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, estate planning, all of that. So don't hesitate. Don't wait anymore. Get the help you need by calling today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey & Hole Law. Things are about to get better. Also, just random things too, Andrew. I don't know if you know this. I knew this or we texted each other or whatever, but shout out to, appreciate everybody. We hit 5 million views on our YouTube page recently.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that yesterday.
5 million. That's incredible. And that includes the Natty State stuff. But still, it's from scratch. Well, I guess by the time when we created the YouTube page with Natty State, we're coming up on almost 2 years.
Yeah, because it was like January 2024.
Yeah, actually, no, it's February. I remember it's February is when it officially got created, but still less than 2 years getting 5 million views. That's awesome. So we really appreciate everybody.
Well, dude, in 2024, the entire year. Now, obviously, there was stuff that happened in 2024, and there was the summer that nothing happened. We had just under 2 million views in 2024. Which was, at the time we were like, holy cow, we couldn't believe how much that was. In 2025 so far, we still got some time. We are at 3,164,000, not including today's stuff. So it's like, that's, growth.
Yes. Yeah. We in the business call that growth, and we appreciate everybody, appreciate our sponsors for hopping in on us and believing in us and, staying with us. It's been awesome. So,
and now we got members.
Yeah, and all of our members.
More members after yesterday, which was nice.
Yeah, which I'll be curious to see if those members stick around for another month in case they were just like, this was crap. You guys only talk football 30 minutes instead of the full hour.
There was a guy in the Discord yesterday who was livid after our member. He was like, what was the point of that? Why'd y'all do that? It's like, dude, we do these once a month. We do our members onlys, and we answer whatever questions. And so it's like, if you're upset with what we talked about, ask us questions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's, again, people just always mad. All right. So a few more of your chats here too, folks. Appreciate it. We've had some good chats today. Quinn Izzo's a better coach. All right, Quinn, relax. We're just relax.
According to intern Cameron, Cal's 3-2 against Tom Izzo. So
numbers speak for itself. Intern Cameron, producer intern Cameron, look up if any of those were in the NCAA tournament, please. I'd like to know if, when it mattered the most, if those games ever happened. Rod says, John, don't ban your boy. I chopped it up with you in Little Rock at the Buzz. In that case, I'm really banning you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but appreciate it.
Did we ever determine if this is the actual Rod?
I don't think it is. But then again, I'm usually wrong. So it's like, I'm always wrong with people. Shout out to whoever's watching us on Twitch for some reason. Bulldogs1992 says, can I rest my arm on your shoulder, Andrew? Your thoughts?
Sure, yeah.
wanted to say, I didn't know if you maybe knew that person or something, and they were just, but all right. There's our one Twitch. Let's see. Addison says, I always start salivating when John says a part of your afternoon this afternoon. That's a weird way to describe it. But
last night you hit the a part of our night tonight.
Yep. Yeah, because then you can't go. And I used to do when I was on the morning rush, part of your morning this morning. You gotta keep up with the times. Got to go with what you got going on. Let's see. Ryan says, I completely disagree, Andrew. We cannot take a flyer on our next head coach. Has to be I can't. I'm sorry.
What is steadying presence?
Steadying presence. We have to make this team respectable again, and we cannot afford to miss on this hire.
So this is one of those cases where I'm trying to remember what I said.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that he took what I was saying about Will Stein as like hey, Arkansas should hire Will Stein, and so he doesn't think they should take a flyer on him. Which, okay. I would agree that Arkansas needs a steadying presence. They need stability, and so that's why I think is so attractive about James Franklin is there's risk in all these guys, but it seems like there's the least amount of risk in James Franklin, especially if the money is going to be what some people think the money is going to be. If they're really making a legit financial commitment, getting James Franklin, bringing him in, that probably is the least amount of risk. And so I do agree with that would be my option number one, no doubt about it. That would be the most ideal. If that's not going to happen, and you have to go with the goalish route of guy that, like you said, has not had SEC experience or whatever, that I think that there's a little bit more risk there, and there's certainly more risk with Will Stein. The only case I was trying to make is that if you're trying to get the next big thing, you're trying to get a coach that really is going to be a transcendent, change your program for the long run, I think you'd probably have to take a risk. You'd have to take a chance on someone young that is unproven, hoping that you can be the team that he kind of achieves all his great, awesome things with. And so that would be the case for Will Stein that I'm not even necessarily making. I just kind of was like, that would be why you would do it. But I agree. I would definitely prefer to go a less risky route and just bring in James Franklin or bring in Alex Golesh and just let him cook.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wanted to bring this up because it made me laugh. We're talking about the James Franklin, Virginia Tech people talking trash about the Belk Bowl or whatever. Bill comes up with the greatest point. He's like, Pittman beat James Franklin. It's like, you know what? That's
dominated him in that Outback Bowl.
Yeah, we're so good over here at Arkansas that we fired the guy that beat the coach that you guys want. So it's like that's how good we are.
I remember that one because I think Penn State had 12 dudes to sit out that game or something like that, and they were all draft picks too. That is kind of funny to look back on because that was the best year Arkansas's had in the last decade. Really, since going back to the Bobby era, that's the best year Arkansas's had. That was the absolute worst James Franklin year at Penn State. I think they went 8-4 and they hated it. They were like, "This sucks." Yeah,
and that was the game. I missed the days of when Traylon Burks, he didn't play in it, and people were like, "Quit on his team, quit on his teammates." This is we don't like the quitters. I'm like, shut up. Just drives me nuts sometimes.
Was Micah Parsons? I see. Mr. Evan Baker here says Micah Parsons. Was that his year? I almost said that, but I was like, that doesn't sound right. I think
might have been
maybe because this was 2021. That season. Is Micah Parsons that young?
Let's see.
Is he only 4 years in the NFL?
He played.
No, that makes sense because
that wasn't his year.
It wasn't his year. Okay.
Yeah, he opted out of the COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021. So he didn't play in 2021. So 2020 was his last season.
Oh, wait a minute. I remember this. He didn't play the whole year.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so he did sit out, but it wasn't he played the year, sat out the bowl game.
Right.
I completely forgot that he skipped his junior year.
Right. Well, that in the year he skipped was the year Arkansas went 3-7 and was the COVID year. So even in that year, he wasn't even going to play that year. So I'll tell you what. Before we'll get some rapid fire chats, play a couple of videos, and have some fun with it. But before we do, I want to remind everybody, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas is going to have you all squared away when it comes to all of your Christmas lighting needs, because it's going to be here before you know it. We're in November. The weather doesn't feel this way, but you know that here soon it's going to turn that corner. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, Christmas is upon us. We got to get our house lit up. We got to have it all decorated for the holiday season. Well, you don't want to wait. You don't want to waste any time. Go ahead and have Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas help you out, and they're going to give you a free estimate. Our guy, Brett, he's the best to work with. We had so many compliments about Brett and the job that he does. So text him if you want to get a free estimate on what it would look like on your home I text him at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. They provide all the materials. They do any color, any pattern. They install the lights, free maintenance throughout the holiday season, and they also do the takedowns in January. They do it all. All you do is get to sit back, relax, and check out how awesome your house looks and being lit up for the Christmas holiday season. So again, call or text our guy, or I guess you could call him too, Brett, 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, we'll do some rapid fire chats here in a bit, but just a couple videos real quick, Andrew, that I want to play. Shout out to, we got to do this one first. Zach Calzada, man. This guy, y'all remember him? Arkansas beat him as the Texas A&M quarterback. The only game he ever won against Texas A&M, it feels like. You also, he was at Kentucky, got benched. He's been everywhere.
It's Incarnate Word, I think he was where he was at for a couple years there.
Yeah, and he was at Auburn.
That's right. He was at Auburn.
Yeah, so Quinn will probably have a say on this. But anyways, he just decided to, I don't know what this is. Maybe you know more about the background, but it's I don't know if he took to Twitter or if he just put this on his TikTok or Instagram. But this video, I guess some guy named Garrett was talking trash, and he just wanted to let him know just how much he's doing just fine.
What you need to do, Garrett, is your ass need to stop hating and go get you some money. But since you ain't got nothing, you can go ahead and you can count mine. Let's go. Hey, let's count. Let's count. Let's count. Let's count. Let's count. Come on. Keep counting. Don't lose count, Garrett. Don't lose count, Garrett. Don't lose count, Garrett. Straight hundreds. Straight hundreds, Garrett. Don't lose count, Garrett. Don't lose count. Come on. Don't lose count. Man, your ass can't count. Ooh, Garrett. Hey, what your ass need to do is stop hating and go get you some money, Garrett. Go get you some money, Garrett.
All right, I can't do that anymore. Anyways.
Is Zach Calzada, is he the least accomplished athlete to ever do a money spread on camera?
He'd have to be. Either that or do you remember who was the guy that was the high school player with Michael Dyer? Do you remember him? Went to Auburn with Dakota Mosley, I think is his name, maybe.
I don't even know that name.
So, okay, I could be making this up. I remember he was not in trouble, but when they went to Auburn, it was some controversy and everything. And I remember always had pictures of him fanning out just hundreds. And everyone was like, oh, well, they got paid or whatever. So I don't remember. But yeah, he's definitely up there. Cringy, dude. Here's the deal, folks. You're kids. You do stuff. You're on TikTok, whatever. There's nothing lamer than what that guy just did. There's nothing lamer than being that guy who got benched, who's jumped around a quarterback, not really accomplished, and then you're fanning out your money, being you wish you could do it's just the lamest, worst thing ever.
Would y'all like to hear Zach Calzada's stats for the 2025 season at Kentucky?
Would love nothing more.
He's 25 of 53 through the air, which is a good 47.2 completion percentage. He's averaging 4.4 yards per attempt, 234 yards total, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and holy cow, man. He actually played more at A&M than I realized. He was behind Haynes King back then.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, imagine that world where Haynes King doesn't get hurt at A&M and just stays there. He might have been their guy. Jimbo Fisher might still have a job. But, yeah, that was crazy. What did he do against Arkansas in that one game? Because, yeah, you're right. He is the one quarterback at A&M Arkansas has beaten over the years. He went 20 of 36 for 151, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick in that Arkansas game. No matter what metric you use, he actually did have a couple decent years at Incarnate Word at what I guess is the FCS level. But yeah, I mean, just not a great college quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. But in this day and age, he makes money. And when people make the case where they're like, "Oh, we can't do the NIL, we can't pay the athletes because you're going to give all these kids money when they're not ready for it." Zach Calzada is the poster child. He is the guy that you would be using to make that case. What's crazy is he's a 6th-year senior. This dude's 23.
Yeah.
Some 18-year-old who just got his first check of all time. He's 23 years old. This dude should be working at State Farm.
Yeah.
And he's doing that, man. It's crazy, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Just a couple more videos I want to bring up. I don't know if you saw this, but then got sent to Quinn. Shout out to Quinn. Anything about Bud Walton atmospheres and things that you really cringe at and you don't really like? Well, Auburn did this, and man, this was pretty rough.
Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and right above the rain and the itsy bitsy spider.
hate it, John. I don't even know what that is, but I hate it.
Apparently, it was a AI baby that they made with a player that's on the team as an AI baby, and they used his voice to do AI and sing that song. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? Just because something may be hitting on social media probably does not need to be done in that type of setting, because apparently, according to the reports, and no one at Auburn really knew what to do and how to react to that. I'm like, yeah, so don't do that. Leave the babies out of it.
I would like to channel our boy Quinn here for just a second, because I want to know, have we seen enough to declare the Stephen Pearl era at Auburn a disaster? Like, I know they're technically, I guess, did they win last night?
Yes, they did.
They're 2-0 now, which is nice, but it's like,
what are you doing?
You agree this isn't the guy, right?
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this at the end of a Friday show? You're just going. It's like you saying Beetlejuice 3 times. It's like he's just going to come out and he's going to start attacking. So you're turning into one of those guys in the chat, Andrew, where you're just trying to gaslight and fire people up and getting Quinn in here and get all mad. Quinn, it's we're just having fun. Take it easy. But no, it is funny though. I'm curious to see what they do the rest of the year.
I'm sure they'll be competent. I bet they make the tournament even.
Yeah. Final video. I just want to play this because somebody was asking me about the guy that makes the AI videos of me. Because Curtis brought it up. He made up a new one here. He takes my thumbnails. Huh?
This is a great AI video.
Yeah, this one's. I'll give him credit for this one. He takes my old thumbnails or any thumbnails that I use in the YouTube for my Locked On, and then just makes them into AI. A lot of times it's been Petrino yelling at me to do push-ups. This time he got Eddie in Clarksville somehow in here. For those of you who remember, I don't know. Just watch the video because I want to share this and just see the obnoxious craziness I deal with.
Hire Bobby. I don't care what John Neighbor says. Ring that bell.
You say I'm beautiful.
Did you know that Eddie in Clarksville was jacked like that, John?
Oh, I was not aware.
I mean, yeah, you look caught off guard there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little shocked. He was eating my dollar bill. I mean,
that's crazy, man.
And if anybody is just, I quote tweet the same thing. I just say why, because that's what it is. I don't know who that guy is that makes it. I think it's Jonathan is what he goes by, but either way, just the things I wake up to, man, on social media sometimes is just wild. But either way, let's get to your chats, get some rapid fire. We'll get out of here. Yeah. So if any fire questions you want to fire off, we'll get to real quick. Michael says, appreciate super chat. It is all about the plan presented in interview. Read article about drink to Missouri. My choices: Franklin, Golish, Morris, Stein. That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, that's the rankings.
That's fine. Yeah, that's an adequate ranking.
Yep, I'd be down for that. Quinn just says, "Don't say stupid bleep." Andrew, see, I told you.
Well, okay, fair enough. The baby video isn't what would declare the Stephen Pearl era dead, but I genuinely want to know, Quinn, and you don't have to super chat. You can just respond in the chat. Do we still think like Stephen Pearl, like this is like a long term, like he's going to be the Auburn coach for the next 15 years, or is this just like a 1 or 2 year bridge thing?
Yeah. Well, because I'll say, at least from my point of view, is like for Stephen Pearl, I'm not like, I think it's just would be a little over the top to say that there's not going to be any drop off. Like there is a drop off from Bruce Pearl to his son. Like there just has to be, just plain and simple. It's not to say he's a bad coach, not to say he's trash. It's just a drop off. It's just a matter of how much of a drop off. And eventually he may get there, but I don't know. It's just tough to really feel good about that.
I just can't imagine that the plan is just for him to be the head coach forever. It seems like this is something you do because you had no real other options given the timing of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I don't know. I don't want to speculate and I don't want to cause any drama, but like if they miss the tournament this year, would they fire him immediately?
Here's the thing is like, I would, but because this team is good enough to where it has to make the tournament. Like there's no question. And if you don't make the tournament as a coach, it's like kind of like what Mississippi State did with Arnett, which I know was a different circumstance. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. But it's like, if he's not the guy, he's not the guy. And if you don't make the tournament with this year's team, he's not the guy. Quinn says yes.
Yes, long term. I mean, listen, I don't know much about what Stephen Pearl's doing at Auburn. Like, I have no idea what he's been doing behind the scenes. That is interesting to me, though.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so a few other quick questions here. Let's see. Oh, well, comment more. Sharkansas says, "What up, chat? In the air, headed to Michigan. Jealous of you, Sharkansas. Enjoy it." I always wanted to go to. I would have loved to have gone to East Lansing, but as Curtis brought up too, it's like it's just such a pain to get to. I mean, it's already tough to get out of Arkansas to fly, but to get up there, you'd have to do like 2 connecting flights and then drive 2 hours, and it just sucks. But let's see. Phil just says John used to get on Twitch in the day and watch some classic Razorback vids. I did. It's the only way to get them not demonetized. Grayson says, "How do y'all feel about the Hogs basketball depth this year? Feels like it's about 9-ish players again. If an injury or two happens, who do they go to?"
Well, the good thing is it's actually, I mean, they're only going to play 8 or 9 guys like in the actual rotation. Last year, they only had 8 or 9 scholarship guys available any given game. There's guys on scholarship for this team that like won't play, and like that's perfectly like Elmer. Elmer is just going to kind of sit back there. If they had guys in foul trouble, they would go to him, but like he's just kind of chilling there. I'll tell you a guy that I think that we don't talk about much. Jaden Carletwa is not like a star by any means, and he's not like a stud, but like if we were in an SEC game and they needed to play Jaden Carletwa 8 minutes, it wouldn't be the end of the world, and it wouldn't even concern me that much. He can knock down shots. He can kind of know where to be. And that's an example of a guy, that's your 10th or 11th guy that is not going to play minutes at all. Last year, Jaden Carletwa had to play, and it was like he was the only other guy available. They had to play him in a couple games. It's not that way this year. And like we said last year, it's one thing to have an 8 or 9 man rotation. That's what most good teams have. It's another to have an 8 or 9 man roster. This year has an 8 or 9 man rotation, not an 8 or 9 man roster. They actually do have 11, 12 guys. I mean, hell, they're going to redshirt Paulo Semedo, even though they don't necessarily have to. They're going to redshirt him just because, there's not really a path to playing time for him.
Stephen Keysacker says, Andrew, Silverfield or Klein? I assume he's talking about Colin Klein.
Yeah, like Colin Klein, the A&M OC. I don't know. I mean, I'm somewhat intrigued by Colin Klein, but he wouldn't be high on my list of like guys I would be willing to like take that leap with. It does seem like he's doing a great job at A&M. Their offense is firing on all cylinders. I would go Silverfield. If those are my two options, I would go Silverfield because of, he's got a little bit more head coaching experience. I think he's done a great job at Memphis. I don't know if I'd be thrilled with either one of those options, but between those two, I'd go Silverfield. But I'd go over Silverfield for what it's worth.
Yeah. Also, real quick, Omri says, as a member and lover of Inside Arkansas, I'd love to hear the full story on origin and development to this point. Amazing show and company. Appreciate the whole team. We've kind of alluded to it a lot, but it's maybe one of these members only deals. We'll dive into it again, or at least up to this point, because is a rapid growth that we're all appreciative of and continuing to go up and beyond, and can't wait to have basketball season, and then postseason happens, and then baseball will be there around the corner, and then getting to Omaha was a lot of fun last year. It'd be really cool to do it again. It'd be really cool to make that happen. So for postseason, but yeah, it's gonna be great. Okay, let's see if there's any others that I missed, because I feel like I'm always missing ones. If people are end up getting upset at me. Keysacker said, sorry, I meant Stein.
Oh, I would still probably, I don't know. I think I actually might go Stein over Silverfield. I don't feel super strongly about it. I don't know. With Stein, I got to be honest with you. It's more of just a gut feeling thing. Like, I'm not basing this off of like, oh yeah, I know for sure he'd come in and they would be loaded. I just really like him, and I like his resume. And I do think he's like that young, up-and-coming coach who, if he gets the right job, could really go on like if at his next job he has a ton of success, he would immediately enter like the top, the Forbes 30 under 30 or whatever, but like of that for college football, where he'd be one of those huge guys. And so I think Stein is probably the most realistic path to Arkansas having a coach that everyone wants. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, or that it's like a case we should all be waiting to see happen. But I do like Stein a lot. And not that I don't like Silverfield. I just feel like there's a way higher ceiling with Stein if you give him a good DC, good OC. But like you said earlier, John, like the floor with Stein could also be a complete disaster, and he could be 2-10. And so I would acknowledge that. But if those are the two options, I would go Stein, but I would go Golish over both.
Yeah. I agree with there. Before we get out of here, though, real quick, just an update on the YouTube TV ESPN deal. It's still far apart, apparently. But the latest according on 3 is that YouTube TV has called out Disney for leaking documents to the press and negotiating in public through their paid talent. Once again, Disney is resorting to their old tactics, the leaking documents to the press, negotiating in public through their paid talent, and misrepresenting the facts, including from their deals they've offered and taking credit for product proposals. Our team stands ready to make a fair agreement in line with their deals and other distributors, and we encourage Disney to come to the table and do what's best for our mutual customers, which basically tells me that this is not going to get done, and who knows? So, sucks. And I hate it because I just got back on YouTube TV like a month ago. And I have this deal with them too. Like that, I just can't. I don't want to get out of. So I don't know. Just figure it out.
Listen, I know their deadlines and their timelines don't have to match with ours. I think it's kind of effed up doing this in the middle of like the most pivotal point of football season with college basketball season getting started here. I think you got to do this in like July.
Yeah, but that's probably all part of the point. Puts pressure on everybody, and it's just so annoying. So either way. Well, Andrew, any final thoughts before we're out there for today?
I do not have any other final thoughts other than I would really kindly want to ask Hunter Yurchek to stop working at the current job he's working at. But other than that, no, I mean, just looking forward to a great weekend, looking forward to tomorrow's game. Be sure to join us tomorrow. I mean, Curtis will have I know he had a good preview episode today. Curtis will have some content for you, but we're going to be live with the Pot at the Palace post game about 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Clear your schedule, man. It's going to be a banger, and I hope everyone has a great one. Stay safe this weekend. Yep, it's going to be awesome. I echo that, and as well as appreciate everybody who tuned in. Appreciate all the members. Appreciate everybody having fun, because this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun talking all this stuff, and y'all go easy on Quinn in the chat, please. This is I knew Andrew's going to do it. Andrew just started a fire, but that's okay. But either way, we do appreciate all of you. Appreciate all the opinions, all the content, and all the interaction that you guys always help provide. It's great. But that'll do it for us today. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page, as well as check out all of our podcasts wherever podcasts are found on the audio form. You can also check out our website, InsideArkansas.com. And that'll do it for Andrew Ellis, as well as intern Cameron. I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night for Pot at the Palace post game.